Happy Spooktober, everyone. To celebrate the occasion, I will be going over all 41 Gravedigger chassis from 1 to 41, from beginning to end, from 1982 to the present. So, if there's any information on these chassis, it will be in this video. So without further ado, let's begin this marathon. Gravedigger number 1. As we all know, Gravedigger started in 1982 as a pickup truck. As you can see right here, this is a 1957 Ford pickup. As you can see right there, you could faintly see the writings Gravedigger on it. The reason that that name came to be was that someone trash-talked his truck, and then Dennis Anderson replied with, "I'm going to take this old truck, and I'm going to dig you a grave." And with that, a legend was born. He would eventually paint it red and paint the yellow letters that you see right there in a different way than it was originally. And as you can see there, Dennis, and on the back it says, "We ain't bad, but the bad don't mess with us." In 2012, this truck would be restored just in time for the 30th anniversary, but it has been used since the mid-1980s. In 1984, he would rebuild his truck into a 1951 Ford Yes, a 1951 Ford panel van, as you can see right here, on 66-inch tires. And of course, this paint scheme would later go on to become Gravedigger, the legend. 2 years later, he would repaint this paint scheme into the spooky, scary paint scheme that we all know today. This truck would race until Gravedigger number 2 debuted in 1990. Today, the truck still stands at Digger's Dungeon, albeit in horrible condition, and it's only a matter of time whether it will collapse within itself. In fact, the motto is rust in pieces. Number 2. The second Gravedigger was originally a repairman's vehicle found in an abandoned barn, or so they claim. It was originally built in 1989, and unfortunately, the very next year, it would be destroyed in an accident, and the chassis snapped in two. However, it was eventually rebuilt on a metal frame in 1994. Sometime during that, Dennis Anderson would take it out in the middle of the ocean and drive it. I don't know why, but hey, there you go. That's some interesting trivia. This truck would sit abandoned until 2016, when Adam Anderson took some old parts and put it into the restoration work for Gravedigger number 2. Unfortunately, not all the parts are original, because some of them were used for a stunt truck, and the first few Gravediggers would swap parts and become each other, essentially. Number 3. The third Gravedigger was built in 1990. However, this truck would mostly be irrelevant except for it becoming infamous for this crash.
Off the race. He's just going for the sport of it now. And he gets out of rhythm right here. And he gasses on just a little too hard and stands on the tail end slaps down.
Luckily, no one was hurt nor killed in that incident. Fun fact, the 1997 Gravedigger is based on this chassis. Another fun fact is that during the off-season, you could put 2 seats in there at the same time. However, when it was competing, there was only allowed to be 1. Eventually, the truck was sold to become the WCW Nitro Machine and eventually Inferno. And then eventually, it was sold again. Today, it is known as the truck that has now become Slag Hag. Sorry, it took me a minute just to figure out the name. Nowadays, the chassis is now run under Slag Hag. Weird name. Number 4. This one is a little complicated, so stick with me. In 1991, there was a 4th Gravedigger built by Jack Colberna, and he was also the driver of it. Also, fun fact, this is the first Gravedigger to have competed outside the United States into Europe, driven by Lyle Hancock, as you saw in that Providence crash earlier. However, this fiberglass used on this truck would be reused by Pablo Huffaker. And there's the truck right there on white rims. So anyway, after Gravedigger became a franchise, Pablo Huffaker was forced to build his own truck. Also, another fun fact, some years later, Dennis Anderson autographed the frame. However, he mislabeled it as Gravedigger number 5. This is why there's so much mystery and disputes among these early Gravediggers. These are definitely not as straightforward as modern Gravediggers. Moving on. Number 5. The fifth Gravedigger, if you can even call it that, was debuted in 1990. Sorry, I cannot find my words today. I never ever can. But anyway, this truck uses a lot of parts from Gravedigger number 2, which makes me question if this is even a new chassis, if you can even consider it that. As of today, the chassis was sold off, and its whereabouts are a mystery. Number 6. The sixth Gravedigger was just a street-legal truck. Most of its parts were reused for Ryan Anderson's Son of a Digger mud truck. That's enough said. Number 7. The seventh Gravedigger is, of course, the famous Gravedigger that he won the 2000 Freestyle Championship in at the inaugural World Finals. This is Dennis Anderson's only freestyle championship. However, this truck would also be known as Gravedigger number 13 because of how unlucky it was after it was rebuilt in 1999. The truck ran all the way until 2005. Today, it is out in the middle of the entrance to Digger's Dungeon in North Carolina. Number 8. The eighth Gravedigger is essentially kind of like Gravedigger number 7, but this truck might as well be Gravedigger number 7 too. Basically, this truck, as I already said, is essentially like Gravedigger number 7, so enough said. It ran until 2003. Also, just like Gravedigger number 7, it is now a display truck out in the middle of Monster Jam Thunder Alley after being restored in 2019. As you can see from this picture, it doesn't, from a far away stance, it looks brand new, but you can definitely tell how old it is when you really get up close and see how blocky the chassis is. Number 9. The ninth Gravedigger introduces us to the first of 3 or 4, excuse me, one of 3, technically 4 ride trucks of Gravedigger. As you can see here, this is the first one, and it was eventually sold. Also, fun fact, this truck used to be a New York ambulance. In 2004-2005, the truck was given to the Dissaroon family, who would eventually turn into the Extinguisher ride truck. As you can see right there, and eventually it was passed down to Pat Suma in 2016. Number 10. Our 10th and final Gravedigger goes to Gravedigger number 10, at least for the final part of this video. This truck was built and driven majorly by Pablo Huffaker out of Texas. After 2001, this truck was planned to become the Beware the Junkyard Dog, as you saw in one of my top 10 lists on trucks that were never made. However, instead, this truck was just retired. As of 2021, this truck is rumored to have become something else, but that is severely disputed. There's no evidence to back up that claim whatsoever. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and stick around, and I'll see you guys on the flip side.